All right, so a couple of weeks ago, Eddie George took issue with the fans not showing up for Tennessee State games. He kind of challenged them to do a little better. In his press conference this week, he kind of backed off of that, and he said, look, man, either you're going to come or you're not going to come. And he said, if I can just get 8 fans that are crazy, crazy supporters, I'd rather have 8 fans than 80,000 lukewarm fans. Now, of course, he didn't mean that literally. Anybody would rather take 80,000 lukewarm fans over 8 crazy, super fanatical fans. But you understand what he's saying. Either someone told Eddie or he came to the conclusion, I ain't going back and forth with these people in the comments about whether or not they're going to show up at the game, which I think is a wise move, Symone, because a wise man walks up or a stranger walks up.
Come on, get it together.
A stranger walks up and sees a wise man and a fool arguing, and he sees 2 fools.
You need to practice, you know.
I didn't plan to say it.
You
It just
know
came
you
to me.
planned it.
It just came to me.
No, it did. But of course, I agree with Eddie George's sentiments here. And he also said on the same subject, the disadvantage of not having, you know, a lot of fans is the energy is lost at the game, and the players can feel that lack of energy. But he did say that as the players, then it's just on them to create that own energy for themselves and for them to feed off each other. And he also said back in his days with the Oilers, his first 2 seasons with the Oilers, I guess they struggled getting fans in there because
they were in Nashville. They came from Houston, so they were trying to figure out who they were going to be, and Nashville had no association with them. You know, people in Houston were butthurt over it, so it just took some time. So the attendance last week, they played Lincoln of California. They had just over 2,000 people at the game. So you're playing at Nissan Stadium.
Which is already big.
Yes, it's an NFL stadium. And you got, 2,000 plus people in there.
But like I said, I understand the frustration from probably the players as well and the coach, because it's called home field advantage for a reason. When you're playing at home and you have your fans, they can get loud when the other team is on offense and throw off their signal calling and throw off their communication. They're hyping you up after big plays. They feed off of that. So it's a disadvantage for Tennessee State because they really don't have any home field advantage.
Yeah, well, Eddie George is not going to fight that fight. I will say this.
He threw in the white flag.
I ain't got time for y'all. I would have loved, and I don't know if financially, if it could have happened, I don't know all the details. I have not done a ton of research. Tennessee State did have an open invitation to go to the SWAC a couple of years ago when FAMU and Bethune-Cookman joined. That would have been a great schedule.
Do you think that's the problem?
Well, it goes back to, you and I were a little bit at odds about it.
Because if they're playing in the SWAC, you're saying they're going to get people, they're going to get other teams to travel to their game. That still is opposing fans in your stadium.
Yeah, but that's going to bring more people to the Tennessee State, all right?
But they're not
because you got
your
more
fans.
things to market. More of the Tennessee State fans would show up.
You think so?
Yes.
We're
going to have the AOB going against the Sonic Boom of the South. There's going to be a segment of the population that's going to show up.
But they're going to be showing up for the band. Are they going to be rowdy on third down? Are they going to be getting up after a big play?
It goes back to what you said. If then there is a good product on the field.
Because Coach George also said that there's people that want to come for the band and they leave after halftime. So if they're coming for the Aristocrat versus the Human Jukebox, are they going to stay in the third quarter?
If your team is good.
They're good now or they're not there?
They're getting better. They don't have you got to prove to people.
No,
they haven't been dominant year after year. They're getting better. They're having a great season. They're having the best season they've had in the last 7 years.
Okay. They still don't have any ride or dies. If you are a ride or die, I don't care if you're playing Mickey Mouse's team or Space Jam. I'm going to be in there rooting and cheering for my team, whether we're 1-15 or 15-1.
If you were the czar of Tennessee State right now and you had the option, all right, do you want to start with a schedule that is a SWAC schedule or an OVC schedule? If it was a perfect world, then you could just make it happen.
Well, I mean.
Well, you're going to act like you really got to think about this.
No, but listen, you have to listen to what Eddie George said. Eddie George said he would rather have 8 fans who, remember, He said he wants people that love the game of football, right? You're talking about bans and stuff that has nothing to do with the product on the field, bringing people in there.
Yeah,
I'm just saying what he wanted.
It's going to accumulate.
He said he would rather have 8 die-hard fans than 80 lukewarm fans. Those 80,000 lukewarm fans are just there because of the tailgate. Lukewarm fans are just there because of halftime.
Just get them in the door. If you get them in the door, then it's like
I'm just telling you what Eddie said he wanted.
It's like those timeshares when they want to sell you a timeshare. All they got to do is get you in the door. And then it's their job to sell you.
Coach George
get the fans in there, let the product on the field.
He said he would rather have 8 die-hard fans. A die-hard fan, they don't care what the schedule is. They're buying season tickets before the schedule even drops. That's a die-hard.
But you didn't answer my question. If you could start right now and you were in charge of Tennessee State, you just had omnipotent power, would you want to start off in the OVC or the SWAC? I like how you're pretending to think about this.
I mean,
there's nothing to think about.
It depends what the goal is. Is the goal to have anybody in the seats? Then the SWAC. But if the goal is to build Tennessee State's brand, then it doesn't matter who they're playing.
America, do you hear this?
I'm just saying.
She is really pretending
If the goal is ticket sales, then of course.
The OVC or the SWAC?
If the goal is ticket sales, then the SWAC. If the goal is to build a loyal Tennessee State fan base that's going to be there through the ups and downs, then it doesn't matter who it is because the fan base still ain't there.
So the SWAC is what you're saying.
Depending on your goal. But he says he wants diehard fans. I'm going off his quote.
We're overtime. We're so overtime. They've started playing music. They probably have just cut our mics.